Back for another round of DWOS Diaries. She just has so much to talk about. Jody Weyers, good to have you back.
Welcome back. Good to be back.
And our last episode left off with the beginning of the Rally Man era. Me getting hired at the American Red Cross in March of 2012 and wanted to make that big splash. How are we going to follow up the then record-setting year of $150,000 raised by the 2012 group? And we shot big, and we had Donald Driver coming off of winning the mirror ball on the television show. So we took aim at his wife, Betina, to be a participant. What do you remember from that whole recruitment process?
Yeah, so, we had about half or so of our crew, and our committee at the time, we were going through our list, like, okay, who do we want? Who do we want? Obviously they have to be big fundraisers because, we kept topping every year. And so, you wanted the best of the best. And so we had Kathy Dwork on our board of directors for the American Red Cross. And she was kind of working that connection with Betina. It was kind of off and on and off and on. And I'll let you share the actual on part.
So finally we get the green light, and it's Kathy sending an email to you and to me and a couple of the other committee members saying she's in. Betina Driver will participate in Dancing with Our Stars, and to sweeten the pot, her professional partner will be none other than her husband, Donald Driver. And I'm getting goosebumps as I say it again. I get it every time. When I think about it, I remember I was in my office at the Red Cross. I stood up out of my chair and was just so excited because not only did we land Betina, but she's going to dance with Donald. And never was that ever part of the conversation. We're going into football season, so we're thinking I figured he's off limits, so it's not even an option. So when I got that news, that was just like, wow, we hit something huge here. And
talk about elevating our event, elevating our fundraising. That's, exactly what we needed. And it was just all a win-win for the Red Cross.
So we went to work and put together a communication plan to help unveil this because we wanted to make a big splash.
Your smile is almost as big as Donald's.
He's way better looking than me, but.
Well, I didn't say that. Yeah, I agreed, but
we tapped into our media partners, and we did an announcement, a coordinated announcement on a morning during the week. I appeared live here at WBAY, and then we went over to WIXX, made the announcement on Murphy in the Morning Show. We had teamed up with Gannett Newspapers, so they had pushed it out on their digital platforms and obviously all of our social platforms. So it was a lot of fun to break that news to the community that Betina and Donald Driver would be a part of Dancing with Our Stars.
Yeah, it was just awesome.
But we still had a few spots to go. Eventually filled them all up, and WBAY used to host a kickoff party. So talk a little bit about that, and then the decision to host it in a different venue for this season.
Well, that first kickoff event is just that camaraderie of all of our star dancers coming together, meeting their pro partners. Typically in the past, we would invite other dancers back. But with having Donald and Betina there, we really needed to have a place that was more secure. And so the Packers, let us host it up in their atrium. And so it was just the perfect spot to have that year kickoff with having Donald and Betina on, and then having it, kick off, at Lambeau Field. What a perfect venue for this first meeting of everyone.
And we had name tags for everybody, and this is one of my favorite stories. So Donald and Betina walk up to the registration table, and what happens from there?
Well, they were just like the rest of them. They put on name tags, and there was Donald with his name on it. And not like we didn't know who he was, but but it was awesome. And that just speaks volumes to just how they just wanted to be one of the group, and just as you got to know them, they're just very humble people as well. And it's hard not to like totally geek out. But again, they're just so nice and genuine. And again, Donald putting on a name tag because everyone else, that just speaks volumes.
And we knew that they were going to do well fundraising wise. Betina set a goal of $75,000. And a big part of that was a house party that they hosted, Drive the Red Party, at Tracy Alpert's home. Tracy took part in the first Dancing with Our Stars. And you and I were certainly looking forward to going to this event. We didn't know if we would be invited at first. It's just, okay, how exclusive is this going to be? And I'll never forget when I asked Betina, do you need us there to help? She's like, oh, absolutely. Yeah, you guys are going to be there. And I think I called you or texted you right away. We're in, we're going. Woohoo! Yeah. Can't wait. What do you remember from the drive for the Red Party?
Well, the Red Party was kind of a signature event that was kind of going on over the following years. And so it was awesome to see Betina kind of pick up that baton, and have Drive the Red. And I mean, Tracy definitely pulled out no stops. Her house is gorgeous. And just everybody there just having a good time. Food catered was by Chris Manglis, and and Donald, look at that like smile. I mean, just like incredible. Love that photo of him and Peta from, again, their winning year, and that was one of our auction items. And then one of the other big ticket items was actually dinner with Donald and Betina. And so that, those went for like $25,000, and they were gracious enough to do a few of them.
We had, so the bidding was ended at 25,000. We had two different people going at it. And smart auctioneer says, all right, well, would you do two dinners if the losing bidder would match the 25,000? Yes, absolutely. Right there, 50,000 bucks. And then I'd say it was probably an hour and a half after the live auction ended that another gentleman who had been in the bidding, but he stopped around 14,000. He comes up to Donald and he says, if I donate 25,000, would you do a third dinner? And he's like, absolutely. And so right there, I mean, she hit the $75,000 goal just off of auctioning off those three dinners. But then there were several other items, a trip to Belize, which I know they ended up doing two of those, and so many other things. And the final tally of that night, $141,000 raised just at this party.
That's crazy. And again, kudos to Donald and Betina for being willing to do that, because, when you do those dinners, you don't know who you're going to be eating with.
Right. And you got to go to that person's.
And you do three of them.
You're going to that person's house. I mean, not that, not that they have a bad house, but you're going somewhere that normally you wouldn't be going.
Right. Yeah. Just potentially out of their comfort zone. And, like I said, you don't know who's going to be there. And for them being willing to do three of them, to give up their time and put in that effort, knowing, the amount of money it raised, again, just is awesome. And look at those guns, man. I was like so envious of her arms the entire competition.
Yeah,
Donald has a smile, but she's got the guns.
She has the physique, absolutely. So event night, we're back at the Radisson, and I know one of the team members that really touched your heart is this lady. So who is that, and why do you feel that she's so special?
Yeah, Mary Gronnert. So she worked at Schneider National in the community engagement. And that's actually where I began my career with Schneider. I was there for 7 years before I went to the American Red Cross. And so Mary was a staple at that time at Schneider. And I think she was our oldest star dancer throughout the 10 years. And she just absolutely shined. And it was such a testament of, age knows no limit. She just was absolutely stunning in that dance. And then this one, she was sassy.
I didn't realize this until I was looking at the photos. I believe those are Red Cross. It's like a cross on earrings, the Red Cross earrings.
Yeah.
That she wore.
So that whole outfit there, again, kudos to our costume team. Dawn Watry, I should say, woman. She blinged out like that whole thing. So I remember her just spending late nights blinging out that shirt, the hat, Michael's shirt, like everything. Because again, she just did, I think, and then Cheryl, who did all of our seamstress and costuming and alterations, I think she sewed the fringe that you see on her jeans. And, those two just really made sure we all looked fantastic.
But back to the headliners of the night, they certainly,
Yes.
can't even say stole the show. Everybody walking in knew that they were the main event. And that's nothing against the other participants.
No.
We're all great people. And, if you ask all of them, they'd say the same thing. Yeah, Donald and Betina we're in a league of their own, not only when it came to fundraising, but as far as performing was concerned. What do you remember about sitting back and watching the two of them dance?
I've never seen so many phones go up at one time when they started their dance. And that number, I mean, again, just what a stunning couple on and off the dance floor. And their love and their passion for one another just exuded out of both of them.
And they ended up raising a total of $158,000. The team itself did gross 400 some thousand dollars, which was phenomenal. And they became the double mirror ball champs. What do you remember about that story and us getting Donald to bring his trophy to the event?
Yeah, I was going to say that's his trophy that he won. And he like brought it, and it's in like this hefty black case and everything. And we wanted to get a picture of like this photo on the dance floor, and just time got away from us, and it just never happened. And so thank goodness, before, like, as everybody was packing up everything, I actually like remembered, I saw the case and I was like, oh my gosh, we need to get a double mirror ball photo. And so that's actually just in our back, dressing room area. And so I think I was actually the only one that actually like held it. So when Donald got it out, I got a picture with it. There it is. And then gave it back to him so we could get their double mirror ball pictures. But it is heavy. Oh my goodness. I couldn't believe how heavy that trophy is.
It looks heavy.
It is pretty awesome to touch it.
It's absolutely. Not many people get their hands.
Kind of like the Vince Lombardi trophy, except it's a dancing trophy.
Yeah, it is the Vince Lombardi of ballroom dancing trophies.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I remember that black case. Yeah, it was, I think it had wheels. It was like its own piece of luggage. And I remember asking Donald when he walked in, I go, what the heck's in there? He goes, that's the mirror ball. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I'm the one that asked you to bring it for the double mirror ball spot. It was really cool. Another aspects of this event, we kind of stepped up the social media game. Talk about that.
Yeah, well, just knowing, because again, every year our events sold out. And so knowing just how many people wanted to really see Donald and Betina, and really have the opportunity also to go online and make a donation or vote. And we stepped up our game when it came to our social media crew. And so we got Paul and we got Sarah and we got Bobby, and they just did phenomenal, from getting video and getting photos up real time, because people, they want that instant gratification. And we finessed it, and we really honed it over time. This was pretty raw, and so they did a great job. Our photographers, they're professionals, so they're just snap, 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 snap. So they would come with their little disc, and they would have like 800 photos. And so how do you like download those and pick and choose? And so again, they had a tough job, and they nailed it.
And all of us worked together at the American Red Cross at various locations throughout the state at this time. So that's how we recruited them. And we like to work hard and play even harder. And after an event like this, you're just really jacked up. You're on cloud nine, the adrenaline is gone, and you want the party to continue. And that's exactly what we did.
Yes. That is our rage crew. #rage. Yeah, so we all were employees at one point in time of the Red Cross in different areas, except for Dougie up front there with the creepy stash. But he was an amazing volunteer and a really good friend of mine. And so he was definitely, honorary. And so we have Paul and Sarah and Doug, and then Mallory's in the white sweater there and red dress, and Bobby, and then obviously you there, looking much younger.
Yes, I look like I could be that guy's dad at this point in life, and that was only 7 years ago. Wow, it's been a long 7 years for me.
I'm surprised I've aged as well as I have with you.
We had a blast, and we closed down the hotel bar.
Yes, we
Then
did.
we went back to one of I think maybe your room. The girls had 2 rooms, and then us guys had 1 room. And we continued the party there. And I remember getting a knock on the door, probably 3, 4 in the morning. Somehow I'm voted to go answer the door and open it up, and it's hotel security. Is there a problem, sir? Yeah, so we have a noise complaint. Noise complaint, really? Who's complaining? Pretty much the whole floor. Oh, really? Had no idea. Sorry about that. Like, one more time and you guys are out of here. Oh, okay. No worries. We'll be here. So.
Well, and we all know I'm so quiet, so
Right. So we made the decision to move down to the guys' room, which was on the first floor. I think the gals were on the second floor. So like, all right, well, nobody's heard us, hopefully, on the first floor. So we'll go down to the guys' room, and we ended up, I think I finally crashed 6:30 in the morning.
I think it was like 7. I don't know.
And then I just remember you guys coming in and waking me up. Like, we had to be out by 11. And I remember being woken up like 10:30. And it's like, really, do we have to get up now? But we did. And we went to the restaurant inside the hotel. And I don't know that we ate a lot of food. We just kind of sat there and picked at our food and looked at it, but had a blast recapping the night.
Yes. Yeah. Such amazing people and just lifelong friends.
Absolutely. So that's a wrap on 2013. Now we move to 2014's event, and it's in a new venue. We had outgrown the Radisson at that last event. 700, almost 800 people. We had tables on top of the stage, not the dance floor, but the stage. And we knew that, we were looking at 1,000. We wanted, okay, that's our next jump attendance wise, 1,000. So where can we fit 1,000 people? Well, we toured 2 places. One was really big, and that was the Resch Center. Now, I knew that I was, probably over my head on that one, but you just got to do your due diligence, check it out. And I did. Oh my gosh. It was so neat to get that tour and to just picture what could be. And I think we could have, with Donald and Betina, I think we could have filled the Resch Center selling tickets really cheap for the bowl seats, and people from the public would have come to watch it. Certainly, you wouldn't have had that ballroom atmosphere. I mean, it would have been a lot different. But ultimately, we realized that okay, this is a little bit too big. So the other venue we toured, the KI Convention Center downtown, and it had the perfect spot. At that time, just the lower ballroom, large convention space, can easily fit 1,000 guests. So we decided to make the move there and was very, very excited. We also moved the kickoff party from Lambeau Field to the Mark. We had Sean Sanders dance the year before with Festival Foods, and they're a longtime sponsor of Dancing with Our Stars, and the Mark, a nice space. So that hosted the kickoff party. But before we get to that, we've got to figure out the 2014 team and putting all those folks together. And I want to say it was either late August or early September, and we had 8 people in place. Usually we always tried to hit 10. We didn't always get 10, but 10 was just that kind of solid number.
Yep.
And we had asks out to a bunch of people, and a lot of them said no. You're in my office at the Red Cross, and I come up with a crazy idea. What was that idea?
Having me dance.
And what did you think when I said that?
Well, at first I was like, oh, but then, you know, I thought about it and I was like, okay, if I'm going to do it, this is the year, because our event's in February, and February of that year is also my birthday, which I was going to be turning 40. So what a great platform to be able to raise money 40 for 40.
So we plotted out your entire campaign right there. Like, okay, so if you're going to do it, you've got the birthday, 40 for 40. So we looked at corporate sponsors. Who could you get corporate-wise? And, you know, that filled, I think, about half of the bucket right there. You had $20,000 in asks that you thought you'd be able to secure.
Yep.
And then talk about some of the other pieces.
Well, and then having a 40th birthday party. And so if I could make around 10,000 at that, and then just ticket sales, which if selling all the tables, I think is roughly around 7,000.
7,500. So now, yeah. I mean, you're only 2,500 away, and you really haven't even asked people just to make an individual donation.
Correct. And then just individual, yeah. So that was kind of that plan going forward. Was okay, if I can get half of it, like you said, from corporate sponsorships, table sales, and then if I can make 10,000 my birthday fundraiser, and then just, you know, simple asks. You know, it was a very doable plan, which kind of took that scariness away from the fundraising, because that's what a lot of people have said over the years is, you know, sometimes the dancing was the easy part. It was the fundraising. And so I felt like we really had a solid plan. And so for me, it was more the scariness of the dancing, and because I am really the behind the scenes person all the time for this event and not in that forefront. And you know, it scared me, like, to put myself out there like that. But then I thought of all these other people before me that did it and said it was the greatest experience of their life. And so I really wanted to have that opportunity as well.
You agreeing to do it did not make it a done deal, though. I had to sell it to upper management just because you were an employee of the American Red Cross, and I wanted to make sure they were okay with it. So I ran it up the channels, and it did have some resistance. Some senior leadership questioned it. Is it right to have an employee taking part in the event? What will the other competitors think? Will they feel that Jody has an edge or an advantage being an insider, if you will? What will other employees think? Will there be resentment there, etc.? So on and so forth. And my answer to all those questions, I think everyone's going to be okay with it. Nobody's going to have any issues with it. Jody's very well known in the community, and I think everyone's going to be happy for her. Certainly, you know, you were managing volunteers at that time, a database of about 1,000 people. So I said, all of these folks are probably going to donate. They're going to think it's really cool. And I mean, I pushed the fundraising aspect. I'm like, this is somebody that's going to easily raise $40,000. How often can you say you've got somebody that, boom, just like that, is going to be able to do at least 40,000? And it took a little bit of fighting, but in the end, I won. And I'm certainly glad that I did, because I knew the potential that you had and how much fun it would be. Plus, since you had already been part of the event behind the scenes for the first 5 years, I knew you were going to be easy to work with because you knew the lay of the land.
Yeah, and I just, to this day, I appreciate you going to bat for me, because now looking back, this entire experience was just one of the greatest things I've ever done. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome. All right, so I mentioned the kickoff party over at the Mark, and I've got a few photos to share from that. Starting off with our fun photo there.
Yes.
So just talk a little bit about what you remember from this night and getting to hang out with everybody else, and the way that we unveiled you to the rest of the group.
As you stated before, we were kind of late in the game of getting myself added on. And so we really didn't announce it to people that I was going to be dancing. And it was the slideshow presentation, and I was the last dancer announced where it came up. And our volunteers that we had helping that day, Sharon and Barb, and, all the other, teammates and everybody was just so excited for me, which again, just really humbled me, because they knew, how much blood, sweat, and tears I put in behind the scenes. And so I think they were just all excited for me to be in the foreground for once, and to be that star dancer as well.
And there's the really cool photo, the poster that Dan Freibalt put together.
Yeah. And we had, I know Emily and Sean talked about the camaraderie of their team, and they did. They had, that crew just was phenomenal in everybody's going to their fundraisers. And I almost think our class, our season, almost even strengthened that bond even more. And just, and one of the greatest people that I got to go through this experience with was Jim Rivett. And just, I'm so thankful that, I had this experience with him, because he just made it all the more, even more great.
Well, you talked about the camaraderie right here. I mean, you've got half of the star dancer team, Jim in the back with the hat on, next to Chris Lofgren, who he would epically duel for fundraising supremacy. In the front, Tracy with the hat, Deb DeLears in the middle, of course you, and then three of the pros there with Michael, Mina Whitty, and although Mina wasn't a pro yet, but was helping behind the scenes, and then Jay Morth in the back. This was a scene we'd see at just about all the events. We had a good number of the crew, which is always special.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk a little bit more about Jim. He had one heck of a fun party. What?
Yeah, I got the shirt on. Here it is.
I see that you've got your Mirrorball shirt. So talk to me about the Mirrorball Bash.
Well, Jim had a couple amazing fundraisers, but that Mirrorball Bash, is the time when the archetype was in a renovated church, and so the environment just lent itself to like the greatest Studio 54 party-esque ever. And from having just the music and the lights and artwork for auction, and so again, our volunteer crews, so we got Barb and Dawn and Dougie with a little more hair now, and Sharon. Again, we just, everybody, the community just got dressed to the nines in their 70s attire and just danced the night away. It was so much fun. And there again, our crew, Brian and Tammy and Deb and Jim. I mean, Jim had these platform shoes on that were like 5 inches. I don't even know how he managed to dance in those things.
That party was so much fun, and Jim
Was that
raised $50,000 through that event. They had live auction, silent auction, sold the merchandise like you're wearing there, the Mirrorball shirts and Mirrorball underwear.
Yep. I have a pair of those too, but you know, I figured, well, you know, I may have them on. No.
We don't need to see.
Okay. So again, we got Emily in there from the year before. And you and I think your Shaggy outfit from Scooby-Doo or whatever. No.
Yeah, that was an Austin Powers wig I bought at a costume store, and
It reminded me of Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
yeah, it had a Shaggy look. You know, if I could do it again, I don't know that I would have worn that.
Yeah. And we got Mary Swanson in there, who, you know, we became friends with through the dance event, and because she was one that always would like to go and be a part of these events. And so again, just those friendships to this day are just, you know, lifelong.
So about a month after this event, I start working again on trying to bring in Peta Murgatroyd. I tried to do it, so I forgot to tell that story when we talked about 2013. So Peta is the professional that was Donald's partner on the television show when they won the Mirrorball in spring of 2012. I tried to bring her in for the 2013 Dancing with Our Stars. I'd been talking with her manager and thought we had a deal initially, but then Peta needed to be back in LA the day after our event for rehearsals for the 2013 spring season. And she said, you can't, if you fly her out of, I don't care how early you fly her out of Chicago, there could be bad weather, it could delay her rehearsal, we can't do that. So I said, well, what if I get a private plane? She says, if you get a private plane and can fly her back out right after the event, you can bring her in. So I'm like, okay, I didn't have a plane, but at least it bought me the opportunity to try and find one. And I had one almost secured, but then they remembered it needed to go in for maintenance. It had to get a new windshield, which was scheduled the day before our event. So we lost out on that one. And then I had a small conversation with another person in town that owns their own plane, and that ended up fizzling out. So I gave up on my dream for Peta there. But when planning the date for the 2014 event, I said, I'm going to move it a week earlier than we normally do it, because then I hopefully won't be running into that conflict with Dancing with Us Stars. But the Red Cross wouldn't approve it as a budgeted expense. So I had to come up with somebody to underwrite it, somebody who would be willing to pay Peta out of their own pocket. But I knew in exchange I could offer them opportunities to hang out with her, etc., so on and so forth. So the first person that I reached out to was Jim, because I knew that he'd be all about this idea, and he was. So he helped me secure the funding to bring her in, which gave him some exclusive access to Peta, and we'll certainly talk about her more when we get to the event night. But what do you remember just from that whole pursuit, and then when we were finally able to say, Peta Murgatroyd's coming to Green Bay?
Well, we had such a wow factor with Betina and Donald the year before. And so now to bring in Peta, who again, you know, everybody was familiar with her because she danced with Donald and won the Dancing with the Stars trophy. And so now to have that wow factor for 2014 was just, you know, the icing on the cake.
Now we're moving closer to the event and your birthday bash. So,
well, prior to that, you know, picking my songs and everything.
Yes. Okay. So sure, we can go through that. How did you come up with?
Yeah.
And you did two. So you were part of the group when they still did two dances.
Yep.
So how did you come up with picking the songs and the routines for that?
So we do a smooth and a rhythm. So the smooth is usually your first round, and then the rhythm is usually your second round. And so the smooth is typically kind of more ballroom dancing. And then the rhythm is kind of, you know, kind of show your personality more. And so we always try to have it so we didn't have like, 5 tangos or 6 cha-chas. And so we really tried to mix up the dance styles. And so with me coming on later, Michael told me, he was my dance partner, Michael Whitty, that, I had for the smooth a tango and for the rhythm round, the cha-cha. Well, I don't know what kind of music goes with those things. And so I'd be sending Michael songs, all the time. Is this the cha-cha? Is this the rhythm or tango? All this kind of stuff. So one day I'm driving in my car and on the radio comes the song Holding Out for a Hero by Bonnie Tyler. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if this is a tango or not, but I'm doing it, because just like how we came up with our fundraising plan, like boom, 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 I came up with my dance plan. Boom, 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 when I heard that song. Because, it's holding out for a hero. What do you think of a hero? Firefighter. So I'm like, okay, Michael's going to be a firefighter. He's going to have a coat on. He's going to whip it off. He's going to have suspenders, and he's going to be shirtless. 40 for 40 and skin to win were my 2 mantras. And thank goodness Michael went along with it, and the song could work as a tango. And so then for my cha-cha, I actually picked out the song just because it was a fun song, and 2 Pina Coladas, Garth Brooks. And so over Christmas break, Michael and Nina were trying to choreograph my cha-cha to it. And so we come back, start my practice, the first ones after the new year. And Mina's like, Jody, we can't do that song. I'm like, okay. And she's like, you're dancing to It's Raining Men. I have it all choreographed, and you have a solo. Like, holy cow. So I actually didn't start practicing my second dance until into January, where the tango, we started, I think like in October, I would go in twice a week. And so I did It's Raining Men and, tango with Michael being shirtless.
And we'll get to see those pics coming up here in a little bit when we get to the event. But back to the birthday party. So what did you have all in place for that? And then talk about the surprise that was thrown in, just a couple of weeks prior to.
Yeah. So, if I was going to have a birthday party, again, I had my vision. And when you're planning something and you have like, okay, these are your milestones that you want to hit. And that's like, I still look at that whole event, because really every milestone that I put out there, I achieved. And again, I have to thank the entire Green Bay community for the love and support that they provided me through this entire experience. And so I had my birthday fundraiser at Green Bay Distillery. And so I was going to have another amazing friend who's done a lot of work with the Red Cross, acoustic guitar, Rob Anthony. So he was going to open my birthday party with, acoustic set. And then anybody who knows me knows that I love the Love Monkeys. And, I've never had a bad time at a Love Monkey show. So I had to have them play at my birthday party. And so I talked to John, the lead singer. We were able to make it work. And I mean, what a great party, and just a bunch of silent auction. Michael and I were going to do a little sneak peek and of our dances, and tickets were going for $40, and I think I had over 200 and something people there. So I was getting all these amazing auction items and everything, and everything was just really coming together. And then I get a little phone call from from the Green Bay Distillery, and so Mike's like, "So Jody, I have a question for you," and I'm like, "Yeah," and he's like, "So there's this national act coming through town, and they want to play here, and I know I can sell them out, which is 1,000 people." And he's like, "It's the same night as your birthday party." And like, my heart just like sunk. And he's like, "What do you think about just pushing your times up a little bit? And then the Love Monkeys, like their second act, could actually be the opening for this band." So I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "Well, the band is Winger." And he's like, "And I'll donate $1 of every ticket to go to the Red Cross and for your campaign as well." So I'm like, "Hell yeah." So I just had to like bump things up, just adjust the time frames a little bit and everything. But who the heck has Winger play at their birthday party? This girl.
That's a pretty
And they
darn
sold out at 1,000 people. It was insane.
good birthday. I remember I was with you. We had lunch. Mike treated us to lunch at the distillery to explain all this to us, and we walked in there not really knowing. So yeah, there was definite nerves and whatnot. Just, oh gosh, what's going to happen? And like you said, you got everything already in place.
Yeah.
And when he said all these things, I'm just like, oh my gosh, where do we sign? Where do we sign? This is outstanding. Are you kidding me? Wow, this is going to be an awesome event. Just like went, shot into outer space.
Exactly.
Got infinitely better, which, you didn't think it could get any better, but it's just like, oh my gosh, this is going to be amazing.
Yeah. And again, kudos to the staff and everything there, because it was a lot of logistics from, we had Rob, and then I did a sneak peek of my dances, and then the Love Monkeys had their first set, and that was all with, people from my fundraiser. And then their little side room, all of my family and friends, we went into that side room and did our auction items and everything. And in between there, they took down all the tables, all the staff, and it was just a big open box then. And oh my gosh, I'll never forget when they opened up the doors then, and all these Winger fans came flooding in. And then the Love Monkeys came on for their second set in front of 1,000 people of these Winger fans. And again, because it was still my birthday party. And so I was up on stage dancing with the Love Monkeys in front of all these people. And John had a bottle of the distillery, like their like lemon vodka, and he's doing long pour shots in my mouth on stage in front of all these people. Oh my God, it was so fun.
I've got some pictures to share from the event, so we'll cycle through those and get any comments that you have.
Yeah. Oh, I had the best team ever. So this was my volunteer team that helped me the night of my birthday party. And so again, we got to give props to Mike for helping with everything go off so seamless. But everybody from getting raffle prizes ahead of time. We had Mary opened up her house, and we boxed all the, and packaged everything really awesome. And then the night of the event, just doing the door and selling raffle tickets and silent auction and just photographer. I mean, you name it, I had it. And this is just one of the most incredible crews ever. I had 3 outfit changes. I had the blue dress, the red dress, and then for Winger, like jeans and a tank top. We got Rob, the Love Monkeys. That's one of my favorite photos too. There they are. And and the winger crowd.
Yeah, it was like you said, it was all the way from the stage
Yeah.
to the back bar. It
Yep.
was standing room
It was
only.
back. Yep. You know, I definitely felt like a princess. Let's just put it that way. It was, yeah. Besides the actual event night, like this is like number 2 big time. And we got Kip Winger. He's signing my birthday party poster. I got the whole band to autograph it.
How did you get to be by them? Just because you had access to the Love Monkeys, or what? How did this moment?
This was afterwards, and they actually had a meet and greet. And again,
okay.
because it was my birthday party, you know, I didn't have the meet and greet thing that people paid for, but because, you know, it was really I was the star here, people. So I just went wherever I wanted.
What else is new? It doesn't have to be your birthday to do that. That's just the way you operate.
I was going in. Aw. And that's like one of my most favorite photos of Jim and I. Again, just, you know, the camaraderie and everybody supporting. I think everybody who was on our cast, like, you know, came to my event, and I'm just so appreciative of that.
A lot of previous dancers showed
Yeah.
up.
Mm-hmm. This is one of my favorite shots too. That's like in their little like crow's nest area. And again, you can just see like the mass amounts of people.
I took that photo, so as I always say, you're welcome.
So thank you.
All right, so birthday bash
good
is
times, good times.
Birthday bash is done, and now we're in the home stretch, heading toward the event in the middle of February. So we're there the day before, getting ready to set up. And how are you feeling? Walk us through Jody's day before, night before, all of that good stuff.
Yeah. Well, my role on event weekend has, again, lining up volunteers, and we would help Jason with Lighthouse Production in the setup and bringing in all the equipment and helping put together truss and stuff like that. And so that was beginning on Friday night.
Friday morning.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Friday morning. And
so this was, and not to interrupt, so this was in previous years at the Radisson, we actually would set up the morning of the show, which was a little bit hectic because you've got a tight turn. But Jason said, if we can get in the day before at the KI, let's do it, because it's going to be more lighting, it's going to be more sound, and it's just going to be a lot better because we're in a new space, and if there are any issues, we'll have time to deal with those, as opposed to trying to do all of that Saturday morning. That's going to be tough.
Yeah. And so again, new space and bigger space. And so I walk in early and I see the ballroom, but it's just a big box and it's all empty. And my stomach instantly like dropped. And I was so nervous. Like instant boom. And I hit it well somewhat throughout the day because I had volunteers showing up and I still had to kind of direct them. And, you know, we had a lot of activity, you know, going on. So we had my duties as, you know, dancer Jody as well as volunteer Red Cross Jody. And that was one of the things, you know, kind of with me dancing, it's like I couldn't schlep off on any of those other duties either.
So then that night, and well, before we get to that, so we talked about Peta, and one of the things that she did was a private party at 335. And I've got 2 photos there to share. So Jim, as I talked about, for him helping secure her participation in the event, he was able to host this party. So that's all of us upstairs in the pool room. You can certainly see Peta there in the all black, and Jim's standing next to me with a goofy face. Diane Roundy, who took part in one of the previous Dancing with Our Stars events, she was in attendance as well. It was just a really neat reception and nice way to introduce Peta to Green Bay and some really, really good people. Sam Brooker, of course, the local musician guy there, and great pic here of Peta and Chris Manglis. course, it's the running joke between Peta and her husband Max. Max is now BFF with Chris, but Peta always likes to say he was my friend first. And we have the proof right here.
You do have the proof.
Here's the proof. So I met her at the airport. I just wanted to. She had ground transportation. Lamers donated limo service, but I just wanted to make sure she got off the plane. And hey, do you have any questions at all? Immediately, if not, we'll connect later. And I'll never forget her walking through Austin Straubel Airport with her sunglasses on, and I come up to her, Peta. Oh, Sean, yeah, and walked her down to the baggage area, waited for her to get her bags, tried to make small talk, try to be cool. And then made sure she got in the limo, and then I had to hike it back to the KI, continue setup. And then I had to go back to the airport to pick up Bobby. We mentioned her from the Rage Crew before. She was flying back in. At this point, she was living in LA, but wanted to come back, be part of the social media team to watch you dance and support and have fun. So I pick her up, then I drop her off at Titletown restaurant, where you and a couple others, Mallory from the Rage Crew, you guys were there. And then I came over to 335 just to greet people, but then I came back to join you guys over at Titletown. So what do you remember about hanging out at Titletown the night before Dancing with Our Stars?
Yeah, so it was my actual birthday weekend. And so Mallory and we went out to have sushi, her and I, and had just one glass of wine. I was limiting my alcohol intake because I knew I had to be on and perform the next day. So just a glass of wine and some sushi and good conversation. And then we met over at Titletown and met you and Bobby and Dougie out. And, maybe had like a beer there. And all of a sudden my nerves are kind of kicking in again, I think. And I was like, Mallory, I'm like, because she was staying at my house. I'm like, we need to go home now. And I was actually so nervous when I got home, I actually threw up. Like, that's how nervous I was.
All right. So you made it through the night, though. Yes. So how do you feel then the next morning? How are you feeling day of the event?
So the morning that I get there, and we have volunteers that are showing up because we still have to get all the table favors on, the table tents, and chair covers, just all of the window dressing. And so from 8 o'clock until noon, I was that helper and getting everything organized. And then at noon, then I became the dancer Jody. So I had a room to myself that I could go and kind of relax in until we had to come down for rehearsal. And Michael and we went through the rehearsal of our dance. And that, like, once we did that, so I could figure out like where we were starting and our markers, because we were in their dance, in their studio. And so, kudos to Michael for having me kind of start it in different areas. So I wasn't so used to starting in one zone. And then I was put on this floor in this big room and just really losing my markers. And so once we were able to run through both dances, and I felt like I did them well in that rehearsal, I was able to just kind of like let go, breathe, and just really try to absorb the event and everything going on as much as I could, because I knew from previous years, being a not even dancing, how fast the day goes. You think you have all this time, and all of a sudden, boom, you got to do this, and you're dancing, and it goes so fast. So I knew I really just wanted to, try to take it all in. So
once you became dancer Jody, who became in charge of the volunteers?
You.
Which was a big, big mistake. I had way too much on my plate already, being the producer of the show, plus I was co-hosting this year. We didn't mention that, and we forgot to mention that in 2013, but I did a bit right before the show started, came out and I knew the crowd was going to be electric at the Radisson, and I said, I want to come out and just do a 2 to 3 minute warm up the crowd speech where I get everybody pumped up, go and call out all the cheering sections and be bouncing back and forth on the dance floor. And I did that, and it was electric. And Cammie Rapson and Chris Ross from Channel 2 were the co-hosts then. And I'm running off the dance floor to get ready for the Grand March after I do that. And they're like, why are we here? You should be hosting this. The committee was really pushing me too as well. So we transitioned Chris to be a judge. Kind of looked at him as like a Len Goodman. He's a little bit cocky. And I thought Chris would be great as a judge, and I'll take his spot as co-host. So, okay, so I'm co-hosting the show. I'm also producing the show. We're in a new venue. So there are a lot of questions, a lot of issues with flow of people and whatnot. So I'm getting pulled in every which way. Plus I've got the volunteer management aspect. And it's one of those things where looking back in time, we absolutely positively should have found somebody else to take care of that. And thankfully, years later, we did have somebody else with Molly Lucarelli, who we plucked away from Dan Terrio's prom event. But we didn't have Molly back then. So I had it all, and I was going crazy. So you had this hotel room where you're just in this Zen moment, and you're being all peaceful and namaste and kumbaya, and I'm pulling my freaking hair out. And it got so bad. So finally, we get everybody seated for dinner, and I have like 10 minutes where I can breathe. And I actually locked myself in one of the utility closets at the Hyatt just so I could be away from everybody and just try to find my Zen moment. Because I needed to prep for the show, and I did an opening bit, which ended up going way too long. But I just needed to regain my composure, breathe, and get my blood pressure back to a semi-normal level. I'm getting worked up just thinking about it again right now. Oh my gosh, it was a lot. But yes, so okay, we're done there. Now it is showtime, and you're getting ready to come out and do your first dance. So remind me which dance that is, and then I'll throw those pictures up. Is it the tango or the cha-cha?
So that's my tango.
Okay.
And for every dance, we would have intros that you would read as co-host. And I don't know, I couldn't think of a good intro. So you actually came up with my intros for both dances, which were phenomenal. And so that is Michael in his fireman outfit. And that is actually a real fireman's coat. My friend Jessica Day, who also did all the graphic design for all of my posters and campaigns and any type of fundraisers that I had. Her husband, Corey, is a firefighter, and that was a jacket he wasn't using anymore. And so we were able to Velcro it and take out the big heavy lining. And then on his dance pants, Dawn sewed, the neon tape and everything around it. And I think that's Corey's hat too. So he was a legit fireman.
What do you remember from this dance?
And as we said, skin to win. So I just remember like the crowd just going wild when he just like ripped that off and flung it around and threw it. It was awesome. Yeah, right there. And it was so fun. Like I said, I was so nervous the night before, but the day of, and it's all kind of a blur. And when I look back on these photos, and even when I watch the video, I'm just really proud of myself for doing it. Because just getting out there and getting out of my comfort zone, and because like growing up and stuff, I had some body issues and kind of teased and stuff like that for being a little chubby, and so just it kind of came full circle to just come out there and do this, and just be a role model for people any size can go out and do it and dance and have fun and just be confident, and I'm just proud of that routine.
So the first dance is done. How are you feeling now going into the second one? I mean, you've got one under your belt. Is the next one just kind of easy peasy? Hey, we've got this down now. Let's get it going. You're excited. How are you feeling going into dance number 2?
Oh, I am jacked up. Like, I am so excited. And some of my castmates maybe had to have some alcoholic beverages for a little liquid courage, but I was just so pumped up. So as soon as I got done, though, I had to go backstage because, as you saw in the first one, my hair was all pulled back, and our hair and makeup people, Rosemary, she was amazing. I had actually 2 stylists during the in-between times curling my hair and putting all those curls and going from an updo to a downdo, which was crazy. But for this dance, it totally, suited the performance. And yeah, and then, so both of my dances actually ended with what we call like a little dust spin. And so I never actually done the spin in my dress that I had. And there was all these like rhinestones, on the back and in the front. And when I hit that floor and just those rhinestones, it made me spin like even faster. And so, I mean, normally it was like 2 revolutions. I think that night it was like 5. When I got up, like at the end, like you can actually see me like, oh, I was so dizzy. Then my signature move, not the first split. Catherine, has that honor. But I remember in one of our dance lessons, Michael and I were kind of doing this move, and he's like, let's just see how far you can kind of go down, kind of thing. And he's like, and then I'll bring you up. I'm like, okay, and I remember like my grandma always being like super flexible, and she would tell me how she could do the splits always as a kid. And I mean, at like 40 years old, it's not usually something you're busting out all the time, And so we're in dance class, and so we do this move, and I just go all the way down, and Michael's like, okay, I think that can work. So that would become my signature move, and I can honestly say to this day I can still do the splits.
Oh, what an iconic photo from the event.
That's one of my faves too.
So you guys knocked it out of the park. Again, we came off of another record in 2013 fundraising wise with that team doing 370,000 net. But your guys' group did it even better. And part of that fundraising was the night of. And again, with Peta coming in, I knew we had some unique opportunities. And I came up with the Polka with Peta raffle idea. So raffle tickets, and one lucky person gets to do the Wisconsin state song, the Polka with Peta. And we had a special way to sell those polka tickets.
Yep, Doug and Mallory and their Lederhosen. Again, good sports, and and they were good raffle sellers too. Oh, so I love that photo too.
Oh, them being in the outfits is really great. The judges, as we mentioned, Chris Roth, Peta, and then Nick Petrano from WIXX. He kind of played a bit of a Bruno character. Bruno from the television show, being very flamboyant and outspoken. What did it mean to you to be, and no offense to the 2 guys, but to receive a professional critique from Peta Murgatroyd?
Oh, it was amazing. Again, this is the first time I've ever danced in my entire life. And she was just so complimentary, and just like hearing that from a professional was just amazing.
We talked about the fundraising, and there it is. You can see on the screen in the background, $500,000. The look on my face says it all. And I knew we were going to be close to this. I didn't know we were going to hit it until probably earlier that day. And I wanted to really build the suspense in the ballroom. So I put together a PowerPoint where we would reveal the numbers, you know, the 0 and then a 6 and then a 6. And I believe I had Cammie. Yes, because I had Cammie read it because I don't think I told her how much they raised. So she's reading these numbers. So then she's just, you know, and then the 5 comes up and she's, you know, obviously you can see she's got her hand, holy cow. You know, what an unbelievable job for that team. And of course, you know, raising 200 of that $500,000, Jim Rivett.
I just love that photo.
Peta giving.
Yeah, I'm just so proud to be a part of that crew. Just from, you know, our year raised the most of anybody in any year. And to just have that time getting to know, especially Jim, you know, just absolutely means the world to me.
Yeah, my all-time favorite photo from Dancing with Our Stars. And we had a print of this made and had Peta sign it the following year when she came back in 2015, and she gave it to Jim for a very nice keepsake. So there you are with Peta, getting to hang
Yeah,
with
we gave her the key to the city.
You got it upside down in that picture.
Yeah,
I think,
I know.
I believe when then Mayor Schmidt gave it to her and they took a photo, she had the thing upside down, but oh well.
That's okay. Again, just so nice. That's my family table. And so I had, you know, friends come in from out of town, and my dad and my mom and my nieces and everything there. And my little Zoe is sitting on the floor, and she probably had the most fun of everyone. She was gathering all those table supplies and balls and beads and flowers and everything. I think she was 5 there, and she's 13 now, or will be 13 now.
And then lastly, the Rage Crew again.
Yeah, Rage Crew again. Some of the greatest friends of my entire life. And you know,
we gave you some gifts, right?
They did, yes. I got my own diamond encrusted flask that is engraved with #Rage, as well as some little booze bottles. And yeah, so just, you know, definitely feeling the love for my crew.
You had quite the spray tan going that year.
I love the spray tan. Thank you, Dawn, McCoy, and Tranquility. I could use a spray tan right now.
If Dawn heard me call it a spray tan, she'd kill me. Sunless bronzing.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Well, overall, your thoughts, you know, from.
Well, you didn't show the one. My People's Choice win. That was like one of my proud moments.
Well, talk about, yes. So Skin to Win, you won Skin to Win. So how did it feel to receive that award?
Yeah. So yes, so I won the People's Choice Award for my tango. So that was all in the plan. And then my fundraising, I am so proud to say that not only did I reach my 40,000 that I wanted to get, my 40 for 40, but I actually ended up raising $54,000. And so again, the perfect storm of just everything that I envisioned came true. But in reality, it was so much more. And, you know, I will be forever grateful for the camaraderie, for the friendships, for the people that gave of their time, their talent, their treasure, you know, all the volunteers that supported me, my family, from, you know, my Red Cross family, you know, and you obviously having my back as well. And going through all that experience, it was one of the greatest things I've ever done. Job
well done. You made us proud.
Thank you.
And thanks for joining us on another edition of the DWOS Diaries. Till next time, Jody. See ya.
All right. Peace out.